It's Thursday, April 10th. This is kind of a pre-open SPY analysis, about a half hour before the open. And what we're trying to do now is determine after that big green bar yesterday, which was just a two-up bar that kind of, moved into the gap here a little bit, didn't quite reach this upper target. It set the weekly chart above the halfway point of the prior day week, which means for the next couple of days, if we continue up, we could be getting to those highs. But the issue here is that we are gapping down a little bit. But you can see the range between the pre-market as we get ready to open is a little bit of a gap down, and that's actually fine. Quite frankly, it's actually preferred a little bit in terms of if this uptrend is going to, continue to follow through. It's not bad to have a down opening, maybe take out some liquidity, then have a green bar that then can work up to those highs of yesterday. But that's what we're going to look for. If that doesn't develop, and possibly we even move down out of the pre-market range, then we're in a situation here that we're, if you look at this bar, we might be stuck inside this bar for quite some time. And I've seen conditions like that before where it gets really tricky to trade. In other words, if you look at these three bars overall and spread it out, we now have this big range from the lows, of this recent sell-off all the way up here. If we gap down and the volatility shrinks up a little bit, we could be stuck inside here on the daily chart going forward for quite some time. And that would mean typically you're going to look for failure trades within the range. Like you'll have an up day that kind of can't break out of here, and then the good trades will be to the downside, or you'll make big push down, but then you'll get a failure. Anything else inside of this action, if should that develop, is going to be just very tricky day to day, because the follow through is not really expected when you're in the middle of a range. Once you get to more of the extremes, then you can get a little the appropriate bounces from those areas. So we're going to see today, does this down opening kind of hold in here above the midpoint of this day, start up and test the highs of this bar? If so, great, and we could be heading up towards the weekly high between today and tomorrow, but we're going to find that out. In terms of the big picture, I still am looking at this monthly chart. Obviously, we have two down months in a row, and we've wiped out all kinds of targets down here. The big question is, it's still early in the month. We're still below the prior, month's range, and you don't know how this bar is going to end up. It looks like it's trying to form a nice hammer bar, but we're not there yet, and we have plenty of time to go. So you kind of can't really judge that anything has changed to the upside in the big picture, even though this weekly reversal, if it holds, would kind of give you an indication that maybe things have changed. But we're going to have to wait 2 days again. If we gap down here and then go a little lower today, and this weekly bar just closes kind of not too strong green, then all of a sudden there's no real weekly reversal here. And it doesn't mean the downtrend is strong given the strong buying in here, but it does mean we can get stuck inside of this big range here between 490 and 550, let's say, for quite some time before things settle out. So keep that in mind. Today we're still biased to the upside, although, like I said, if things open down and the opening price action goes below this bar, I could see trying a short trade just to see if we could really, start eating below the midpoint of this bar. But, be very nimble on that. Ideally, you're going to get some kind of either an immediate green move or a little red to green move above the midpoint of this bar that tests that high. But I want to see if that unfolds here today. And if not, then be prepared, like I said, going forward for choppy action inside this bar. And it's going to be tricky trading day to day. There might be enough volatility just to follow the intraday charts, but the best trades are going to be failures at the top of the range or at the bottom of the range.